to my Flagstaff home. This video is about a camping trip that my husband and I recently went on. It's kind of a vlog style video. I did do a video that's going up the same date as this one that is called Camping Disaster or something, I think that's what I called it. Telling about our first attempt at camping about 13 years ago, and it wasn't a really good experience. So if you want to see that video, I will link it in the space below so you can have a laugh at that story. But my husband and I decided to try camping again. We got this really cool truck that has a thing that pops out on top of the truck and makes a tent that goes over the whole top of the truck. And we got that in May. We've had just visitors and all kinds of stuff going on, so we hadn't had a chance to try it out. We left the dogs home this time. They were part of the reason why our trip 13 years ago was such a disaster, and we actually had a really nice time. Now this video is going to be a little interesting in how I have to edit it because there was a weird issue with my camera for some reason, and it's not doing it right now. I don't know why it decided to do this on the trip, but my lens, the lens itself on my camera is making weird noises, or it was kind of squealing noises. And so in some of the video clips, the squeal was so loud that I can't even use those clips. And so I had to film some of it on my iPhone, and then my iPhone was filling up and losing memory, so I filmed some of it on my husband's iPhone. And then there is, I think there are 1 or 2 clips that I'm gonna include where the squeal is not as loud, and I'm gonna go ahead and include it because I have to show parts of this video or else it wouldn't be much of a video at all. But so bear with me on that. Sorry, I wish it hadn't been there. And I don't know what was wrong with my camera. If any of you have, well, mine is a Canon EOS Rebel T5i with just the basic lens that comes into that, with that. And there's no camera repair store in my town, so that's kind of a bummer. But I don't know if I'm gonna need to get a new lens or what, but if any of you know about any of that, just, you know, comment below and let me know. So yeah, so anyway, here is our camping trip. So I'll give you a little tour of our camp here. We got here last night and we had to really rush to get everything set up before it got dark, and we were still doing a lot of things in the dark. We were looking for the perfect spot. We really found a great spot. I'll show you the view in just a second. So we anticipate that there will be some need for shade later on this afternoon, so we put our easy up over there. The chairs will probably move from place to place, and we've got a little fire going there, trying to heat up some water for coffee this morning. And then this is the truck that we have that has the tent that goes over the top, which is really, really cool. And it was fairly comfortable. You know, it's not the Hilton Hotel, but for camping it was really nice. And then kind of out the back of the truck, we're sort of setting up stuff for where we're getting food, and my husband's making up some little packets of coffee to kind of dip into our water. But anyway, see, as you can see, it's just this beautiful forest area, but you're just not going to believe it. It's really so much prettier than this. So let me go ahead and turn. We're actually on the rim that overlooks the canyon near Sedona, the Sedona Red Rocks area. So here we go. Let me hold on before I give you the big dramatic view. Let me make sure I don't trip with the camera in my hand. Here. Isn't that just amazing? So these are the Sedona Red Rocks out in the distance. I don't know if the sun's shining at a bad angle, but there's just these beautiful red rocks popping up everywhere. Absolutely beautiful, and this is what we saw when we looked out our tent this morning. So I'm going to make breakfast burritos this morning. And over there on the fire, let's see if we can zoom in. Okay, over there I've got a Dutch oven that's sitting on the grate over the fire, and trying to get the coffee boiling and all that. And the fire's kind of raging right now. We're trying to get some good coals. But I thought I'd heat up the pan in the first place, or before I get started. Of course, I don't know how many times I've cooked over a fire. Not many, so who knows if I'm doing it the right way. But I'm making breakfast burritos, so I started by chopping up some different things to put in them. I have
some zucchini, and I cooked a potato, baked a potato, not baked it, boiled it before we left. And so I chopped that part of the potato up, and I chopped up some tomatoes and onion, and sprinkled it with a little salt and pepper. And then I'm going to cook that, and then got a little thing of shredded cheese that's going to go in it as well. And I already cracked my eggs, put them in a mason jar. So so those I'll just, I'll start the vegetables first, and then pour in the eggs and scramble that up. And then they will go inside tortillas. So that's it for now. So here I cooked the vegetables for a little while, just added in the eggs, stirred it around. I'm loving this pot so far because nothing seems to be sticking to it, so that's great. So I'm just going to let that cook up and then put it in the tortillas with cheese. So it's about 5 o'clock in the evening, and we're looking at the canyon now that we're overlooking here. Hearing all kinds of wildlife, and a family of hawks and all kinds of cool stuff. It's been pretty hot today, but there's a really nice breeze now. So in about an hour we're going to start cooking dinner.
There's more than one. There's 3 right there. That's an adult. That's a juvenile.
Got a pretty nice sunset going on here tonight. Really lighting up those red rocks. So tonight we're going to have salmon and some mushrooms. And so this right here is, I'm just prepping. We're not ready to eat yet, but I just thought I would get some prepping done and then put this in the little fridge we have. So these are 2 different kind of mushrooms. They're button mushrooms and portobellas, baby portobellas. And then there's, let's see, a tablespoon of dill and 2 cloves of garlic that are chopped up. And it has some salt and pepper. And the recipe says to put it in a foil pouch and cook it that way, but I don't know. My earlier today catastrophe with foil has gotten me kind of nervous about doing that. So instead I'm going to cook it in the Dutch oven, and then I'll put the salmon in there too. So I'm going to go ahead and prep the salmon, and I'll tell you what I did for that. Alright, so here's the salmon, and all I did was I took a tablespoon of parsley, a tablespoon of thyme, a tablespoon of olive oil. I took the zest of a lemon and the zest of a lime, and then put salt and pepper on there, mixed it up, and then just put it over the top of this salmon. So this is the final product, the salmon and mushrooms, and I'm guessing it's going to taste great. So it's been more than 24 hours since we've been out here, and I have to say that this has been the most nothing I've done in a really long time, and it actually felt really good. When are we going camping again, honey?
Soon.
Soon. We're going camping again soon. I thought I would show you this nifty little idea for making coffee. So we've got this little coffee pot or water pot, whatever, heating up, and then inside it, oh, sorry about that. My husband, and this is not hot yet, my husband made a little coffee, we've been calling it a coffee bomb. We used a coffee filter, it's floating in there right now, a coffee filter, and then he put coffee in it and then just tied it up with dental floss, and then we just put it in there while we're boiling the water. And we did this yesterday, and we had great coffee. So, you know, you can go camping and have good coffee. This ended up being a really nice weekend. It's Sunday morning right now, and we were planning to stay, oh, I don't know, till early afternoon, I guess. But in the night, we woke up and we smelled smoke, and there's a managed fire that is down the way, kind of over this way. And a managed fire means that when it's naturally caused, like this was by lightning, then the Forest Service lets it burn, but they manage it to make sure it doesn't get out of control. and if it's a man-made fire, then they put it out. So we knew there was this fire going on down there, and it must have spread. So in the night, you know, we got up and there was really strong smell of smoke in our tent, and so we had to kind of close up, you know, zip everything up. And it's still smoky this morning. You can see it hanging over the valley, especially if you think about those shots I showed you yesterday, and especially like there's that one mountain, the Red Rock, and you can't hardly even see it this morning. So yeah, rather than sit around and smoke all day, we're just gonna have our coffee and breakfast, and we've been packing up, and then we're gonna head home. So I wish we could have stayed out here a few hours longer, but all in all, this was a really nice trip. Well, breakfast this morning is going to be eggs and biscuits, and I prepped this stuff before we came. I actually mixed together the flour, baking powder, a little bit of sugar, salt and pepper, and there were several tablespoons of dry, powdered dry milk. And so I'll put, if this turns out to be good, then I'll link this for you in my post on my website at myflagstaffhome.com. But then all I had to do, oh, and then there was also canola oil, mixed that together. It kind of made a crumbly sort of a thing, and then I packed that, kept it refrigerated just because I didn't know if it would need to be or not. Then I just added some cheese to it and a cup of water, squeezed it all together in the bag, and then I'm going to put it in the Dutch oven to cook. Okay, so we already ate our first batch and I forgot to film, so that should tell you that these biscuits turned out pretty good. They look more like thick pancakes, but they actually are, you know, just like biscuits. My husband suggested that we add a little bit of minced jalapeno in the future, which I think would sound, I mean, it just sounds really good to me. So I think we'll try that. But this was a really good recipe. The one thing I just needed to make sure of is that I moved the Dutch oven away from the flames because it was getting too hot, and some of them were getting burn spots on them. And so when you get it just at just the right place, or if all of these had turned to coal already, it would have been easier to control. But this was a great recipe. Over a year ago, there was this huge fire in Oak Creek Canyon. I actually did a video about it called Arizona Wildfire, which I'll link in the space below if you want to see it. But we were driving around this area where we were camping, and all of a sudden discovered that we were in the burn area for this. And you can see that that, you know, all these trees, most of these trees in here, as you can see, are dead. There were some trees that survived, and of course grass and everything has started to grow, but this was a huge fire, and because it was in a canyon, they had a really difficult time fighting the fire. How long did it burn, honey? Three weeks? Burned like 3 weeks or more, and luckily no structures that were in the area were affected. But you can definitely see that this was, you know, really a horrific fire. And it wasn't just here. It burned all the way down. Those clips I was showing you yesterday of that canyon and how far down it went, the fire went all the way down through into there. And so it was a pretty scary fire.
Beginning, it turned out to be a really great trip. I had fun trying to cook over a campfire. We had, of course, the most unbelievable view from our campsite. We were so fortunate to find that spot. Our camping trip was great. We have another trip that we're planning to take next month, and we're probably going to go back to the same area, but we found a different campsite with a little bit different view. And then we're also thinking that we might try to go to the north rim of the Grand Canyon for another trip. We start to get really cold, you know, probably toward the mid to end of September, so we don't have a whole lot of time left. So, but we thought we would, you know, give it another shot because this one went so well. And so we've got some tweaks that we're gonna make, some things that were a little bit inconvenient on this last trip, and so we're gonna try to do some things. I'll share some of those in the next vlog video that I do about a camping trip. But I hope you had fun seeing this, and I hope you'll join me for future videos on my Flagstaff home. If you're not currently a subscriber, just hit that button right there, and YouTube will let you know when I upload new videos. So also, you can go over and check out my blog at myflagstaffhome.com. I hope to see you again. Bye-bye.